Hello, good evening, everyone. I am Dr. Hina Singla, Program Officer, Vision 2020 India, based in New Delhi. On behalf of Vision 2020 India and Mr. Israel Gananraj, I welcome you to this webinar on strategic planning for hospital construction, renovation, and upgrades. Key considerations for success. We will run this session for an hour. Vision 2020 India has been organizing various webinars under its Knowledge Hub initiative. Now, let me introduce our resource person. Architect Israel Gananraj studied architecture at the University of Moratuwa, Sri Lanka, and has been working out of Pondicherry, India since 1983. Thank you once again for your participation. I request Mr. Israel Gananraj to take on. Over to you, sir.
Good evening. It is a pleasure to be here with you all. Firstly, I would like to thank Vision 2020 team for enabling me to present here, especially Dr. Panindra Babu, CEO, for the opportunity given. I also wish specifically to express my gratitude to Dr. Rajesh Saini, Dr. RDR, and Mr. Sriram, who were instrumental in me getting associated with Vision 2020. Now, let us move on to the presentation. Strategic planning for hospital construction, renovation, and upgradation. The construction project is the most significant and the most expensive first step in an eye care delivery setup in our country. We need lots and lots of facilities to serve the many geographies that are grossly underserved in the eye care sector. A hospital project, setting up the infrastructure, is a big commitment to serve this need. A well-designed and built hospital is not just a building, it is a silent partner in healing, where thoughtful architecture streamlines operations, enhances patient care, and fosters an environment of efficiency and compassion. The planning process starts from first somebody's dream. Then it goes on to the design phase and culminates in the building activity, finally resulting in a facility to serve as per the dream of the person who initiated the project. As much as we as architects and engineers contribute to this process, there is a lot of hard work and preparation that is needed in addition to dreaming and thinking of putting up a building for eye care. So one needs to understand the need and setting objectives. A good first step always leads to a great finish. So it is very, very important that whoever wishes to commence or take up a building project, especially in eye care, that they do a lot of hard work, homework, and prepare themselves for the arduous task ahead. Hospital projects are known for delays, cost overruns, and sometimes faltering somewhere in the middle without reaching the desired end goal. Good preparation ensures that we will go through without hitches, and even when we encounter obstacles, we will know how to deal with them. The first aspect is to assess the need for the hospital. It may be the community's health requirements, conducting detailed surveys on population health needs in the area, including prevalent areas, access to care, and gaps in service will give some picture about the need of the community. We need to think about and identify which specialties are most needed in the local area and plan for that. Even though eye itself is a specialty, there, as the doctors here and everyone knows, there are so many subspecialties in eye care, and the requirements can vary. The doctors and the building requirements also can vary. So one needs to understand what all one wants to, which areas one wants to serve. Capacity. Estimating patient volumes, which would lead us to understand requirement of outpatient clinics, number of beds, number of operating rooms, etc., based on expected demand and future growth. Patient profile. We have a very large cross-section of patients in our country, from the poorest of poor to a very rich patient who can afford any kind of treatment. Whom are we going to serve? Are we trying to cover the whole spectrum? What would be our pricing? And at whom is the hospital, the project aiming to serve? Next comes regulatory and compliance objectives. We have healthcare standards to be taken care of, to be understood. A lot of building standards, from bylaws, pollution norms, health department requirements. Probably architects and engineers would help you with this. Then your desire and need for accreditation, NABH, insurance, health department accreditation, sometimes even corporates in the region. Accessibility. What kind of patients? Old age patients, partially blind and blind patients, how to take care of them. Design and functional objectives. Ensuring that the layout optimizes patient care, privacy, and comfort, considering factors like natural lighting, room layout, and ease of navigation to make the hospital patient-friendly. The staff also required to be considered in the design. Designing for operational efficiency, minimizing walking distance for staff, optimizing workflow in departments like surgery, outpatient areas, and in patient wards. Flexibility and scalability. Planning for future expansion, including flexible space for new departments and/or new medical technology. One needs to be clear about one's financial objectives. Cost-effective construction to ensure that the process adheres to the budget constraints while maintaining quality and regulatory compliance. Operational cost management. Many projects we have seen, they think of the construction, but do not take into account the cash flow required for operations. Designing the facility for energy efficiency and long-term operational cost reduction, incorporating renewable energy sources or energy efficient building systems, etc., need to be considered. And of course, the return on investment. Timeline. In India, the construction process is quite long drawn out. The design needs to be given sufficient time so that all the problems are sorted out in the design phase. Then we have to go through various government department approvals, statutory approvals. It takes quite a long time depending on where you are and who is dealing with your application. Many projects take even sometimes more than a year to get through the approval process. Construction itself has to be properly planned and sufficient time should be given. Unnecessarily fast construction sometimes does not give a good quality output. When construction ends, when the contractors finish their work, the hospital is still not ready to start running. There is a commissioning phase. You need to get power, water, and all those connections. They have to be checked. They have to be run, commissioned, and then the whole place has to be checked for any shortfalls, any initial teething problems. All those have to be sorted out before a hospital can be ready to receive patients. After this comes what kind of building option you are going to choose for your construction. If you are a first time or a new hospital project, probably you may opt to go in for a new building at a new site. But there is another option available depending on the size of your project. You may take existing space and convert it to a hospital which can serve the patients, which can serve your needs. If you are an existing hospital, you may be considering, if you have the land to expand, put up a new block and start the additional construction project. Also, in functioning hospitals which are several years old, your building project may be actually a renovation and upgradation project. So whether you want to upgrade, what kind of renovation you want to do, all this needs to be, these are all options which need to be considered when you start a building, when you start thinking of a building project. A new building project has several advantages. It gives one design freedom. Because there is nothing existing, you are free to design your hospital the way you want to suit the functional requirements that you have in mind. It could have the latest, most modern infrastructure. The infrastructure can be state of the art because there is no restriction whatsoever in what you want to construct except your own desire and or your own budget. Since it's a new project, one can plan for long term. You can take that into account in the building. It could have a 25-year plan very easily. A new building could easily have a 25-year. Probably it would have about 50 years of life. So it should be possible at least to plan for 25 years. So long-term planning is possible. Functionality, taking into consideration the most current trends in treatment protocols and what is expected from the market, from the patients, from the doctors, considering everyone's requirements, the hospital can be planned for ideal and improved functionality. Compliance and safety requirements keep changing over the years. When you are doing a new project, new building, you will be compliant and taking care of all safety requirements as per the latest regulations. So probably your building would not have any compliance issues, at least for the next several years. In the long run, a new building can be cost efficient as well. Though the initial investment is going to be high, the maintenance, energy efficiency, operational costs would be much lesser when you compare with an old building. And a new building can have an aesthetic appeal of your choice. When you use an existing space and convert that into a hospital, there are several benefits there as well. Number one, of course, is short-term cost saving. Because the building is already there and you are only doing the interior parts of either the whole building or the part in which you are establishing your facility, that part alone, the interior design and construction cost alone needs to be taken into consideration. You have also the advantage of location compared to a new facility. New facility, probably when you are looking for land, you will not get it in the heart of a city or a town. Probably you have to go out into the suburbs. Whereas if it's an existing building in which you are going to set up your hospital, you can choose the building wherever you want to be. Because we are not disturbing a new site and not utilizing any new construction materials, the project is much more sustainable. You are creating a facility with least amount of disturbance to the nature. Faster project timeline. Because of the construction of the shell, the space is already done. The time required for you to go operational is much quicker. Already you have utility connections, power, water already connected to the building. So those becomes easier as well. You also sometimes have some compliance advantages because the new regulations are stricter and may not permit certain things to be done in certain areas. Whereas if it is an existing building, probably you will be allowed to make use of the building to run your hospital. Expansion to an existing hospital is another way to go when you are thinking of a hospital project. When you are thinking of expansion, this has both the combination of a new project, also what you may be doing in an existing building. You have a design freedom for your new block or blocks that you are going to construct. Since they are new, the infrastructure can be as modern or state of the art as you want it to be. And since this is an addition and it can be planned to take care of medium to long-term requirements. It improves the functionality of the existing facility by giving much more flexibility and more space for your hospital. The new construction, of course, would be compliant with the latest codes. In the long run, this is a very cost-efficient model because you are retaining the old project old building. It is still under use, and you have added this new building, which has a much longer life, lesser operational cost. So, in the long run, this is much more cost efficient. When we are doing this new addition, you can have the kind of look, the aesthetic, the space, ambience inside as you want. Utility connections are already established, so there is no need to go for additional connections. This is in a hospital zone because already you are running a hospital there. So the zoning is established, so you don't have any issues in zoning. And you have historical and cultural value. People know that a hospital is here for quite some time. They know your reputation. The community has already accepted you in that place. So when you are adding, you are increasing the offering, the services you are going to give to the people, the community, and they are happy to take. And so the break even is much faster and quicker. Renovation and upgradation is also a possibility for existing hospitals. When the existing hospital structure is of good quality and can be retained and has a longer service life, and it has sufficient space for the continued operation, one can consider renovation and upgradation. Even when you are doing an addition or expansion, the older blocks can be renovated and upgraded. This approach gives you the advantage of short-term cost saving, because you are not building a new building, you are not investing in a new site, you are only doing some repairs, maybe new interiors, putting in some new services, and getting the sorting out any shortcomings which you have had in your existing hospital building. So there's a short-term cost saving. You have the location advantage, sustainability because you are not breaking any new ground, faster project line because you are not starting the construction. Of course, historical and cultural value. Everything is already connected and you are in an established hospital zone. Now coming to, once you have decided what kind of building that you want to build, a new one, addition, or whatever it is, you need to consider what exactly that you want to achieve. It starts with the patient volume. You should know and have a clarity on the number of patients whom you want to treat in the immediate future as soon as the hospital comes into being, and then how much it will grow over a period of time. The second thing which you need to consider is all the subspecialties and services that you are going to offer. Whether it's only going to be cataract, whether you are going to have retina and other specialties. Are you going to be an ambulatory center or a daycare center, or you will have facilities for overnight stay for patients? So the services that you are going to offer. You also need to think about the patient categories. As I said, in India, the kind of patients purely on economic lines itself is very large bandwidth. So what kind of patients, how much you are going to charge, are you going to have subsidized or free treatment, or if it is going to be paid, how much, in what range are you going to charge? Then there is the hospital policy. In what way your policy will affect the building design? Are you going to have anytime walk-in kind of arrangement, or are the patients going to have prefixed appointments and then they are going to see? And when a patient comes, are they going to see a specific doctor or any doctor who is assigned by the hospital? Is there going to be, if you are going to have subsidized and paying patients, are they all going to be seen together, or do you want to segregate them? If you are going to do outreach, what will be your policy towards that? How will they be brought in? When will they be brought in? Where will they be housed? Will they be given food? And if you are having inpatients, would you be serving food? Many policy considerations influence the design. Patient amenities. Say, are you going to have an optical shop, maybe a pharmacy to dispense your prescriptions, a cafeteria or coffee shop, so patients who are here, who have come for services, that they can avail of those benefits? Will there be other services like for the inpatients, food will be served in their rooms, or they have to bring food from outside? Are you going to allow them? In some areas in India, I have seen the patients themselves like to cook their own food, so they need a place to cook. So what kind of amenities? It's based on policy, what amenities that you are going to give, and that needs to be planned in the hospital design. Support services, like your own laundry, for instance. What about maintenance workshops? How big is your facility? What kind of support services you want to build in-house, and what you would be giving out? One more important thing is phasing. Phasing is important from several points, several considerations. For instance, if it's a new hospital, the first in that place, probably you're not going to have a full complement of patients on day one. So though the building is complete, it may become operational part by part. So that is one aspect of phasing. Another way of phasing is you create a large master plan for a campus and then construct block by block. Or you design a tall building and then start construction at different times, a few floors initially, then you keep adding floors. The kind of phasing dictates the design approach and convenience and so many other things. We also should think about the environmental and sustainability considerations. What are we doing for wastewater recycling, for instance? Are we going to harvest the rainwater? What about solar or alternate power supplies? Is the building going to be designed in such a way that the patient have the benefit of natural light and natural ventilation, or is it going to be completely air conditioned? Even if it is going to be air conditioned, the orientation may help in reducing the impact or the cost of energy. The proper orientation, cutting down heat gain, can reduce power bills. Another major thing which needs to be considered right in the beginning stages is maintenance. While you can build a very beautiful building, in no time it can look very shabby if it is not maintained or if it is difficult to maintain. Sometimes it is worthwhile to spend a little extra so that your building is maintainable easily for a long time. After you are clear about what you want to do, what your project is going to be like, you will think of putting together a design team. So choosing the right architect for a hospital project is a critical decision that significantly impacts the project's success. Key criteria in selecting an architect. The architect should have relevant experience. Not many architects are or have experience in hospital design and very few in eye care design. Then design expertise in handling different types and different scale of buildings. What about their team? Who are their collaborators? Do they have in-house engineering team? Or if they are outsourcing it, is the engineering team equally good as the architect whom you are choosing with lot of diligence? But you also need to look at their team who will be collaborating on the project. The technological proficiency of the design team. Track record of compliance. Can they advise properly on compliance? Or will the project get stuck halfway because we will not be able to get approvals, or after construction we have problems in getting completion certificates? Architects would like to give you a very beautiful product, beautiful building, but sometimes we do not think much of a budget. But on a hospital project, budget management is crucial. So your architect should be willing to commit to a budget and work within the budget. Time, like most creative people, architects do not like to be bound by timelines, but a hospital project cannot wait. So you need to ensure that they are willing to commit to a timeline. You can take references and check their reputation and visit their projects, whatever they have done for innovation and vision. And finally, though architect's job is to do the design, the project requires their continued support from day one till post-occupation. And a good architectural team will be available even many years later to help you with changes, modifications. So long-term support. Then comes selecting the right site. I have deliberately put selection of the architect before selection of the right site. Many times we have found that when clients come to us with a site, the site is not ideal for the proposed hospital project. So if possible, you should select the architect and involve the architect while you are selecting the site. Selecting the right site for a hospital is one of the most crucial steps in planning and development. A well-chosen site ensures operational efficiency, accessibility, and sustainability while meeting the needs of the community. Key criteria: accessibility, size, and expandability. Don't buy a site which will fit your immediate requirements. Try to look for a site which is larger than your immediate requirement. Zoning and land use. Most of the time, people miss this. When you buy a property, a land, whether in that zone a hospital building is permitted. These should be checked. Environmental aspects, whether it's a flat site, ideally it should be a flat site. If it is gently undulating, it is okay. Is it waterlogged or is it multi-level, so that you will end up spending a lot of money to modify the terrain? What kind of soil? Because if the soil is poor, you are going to spend a lot of money below the ground in doing the foundations. What about availability and infrastructure? Proximity to support services, financial feasibility, the cost of the land, legal factors. Are there any lien on the land? Is there any government proposal for a road widening or something to go through the land? So all those aspects should be considered. Future considerations. What will be the site and the surrounding areas be in 10 years' time, in 25 years' time? I plan to give you a quick overview of the design process so that when you're working with your architect, you know what to expect. You as a promoter or the initiator of the project is expected to give a detailed architect's brief, as much in detail as possible. All the data that we talked about in design consideration, from patient volume, specialties, everything in that list. You should put it down in black and white. You should have resolved it in your research exactly as to what all you want from the project. Based on your brief, there will be, the architects will present you, they will work and present a concept design. Once both of you discuss and agree on the concept design, it will further be developed suitable for construction. Then drawings would have to be submitted for government approvals, building permit. Once you have the building permits, you will call contractors to bid to do the construction. After you have fixed the contractors, you will go into construction and then commissioning. This is what I was describing is the design process which you see, but what happens behind the scenes in an architect's office? Based on the design brief, the architects are going to go through the regulations and code, analyze the site, estimate areas for different functions, then group functional grouping of areas, zoning, horizontal and vertical linkages, service shafts and service rooms, and then they will come to block plans with orientation. Since we are kind of not having much time, I'm going to rush through the rest. Efficient use of natural resources, natural light. The design has to be patient friendly. In India, family is important. Many of the standards do not cater sufficient space because they are borrowed from Western models. They are not catering for our Indian conditions. So if you have 100 patients, you should plan waiting areas to accommodate minimum 200 or 250 people. So we need in India to plan for family. Good waiting areas. I can take time for a patient who is coming to complete everything and go back. Many hospitals are nightmare for people when they come there first because they can't find their way. Interaction should be friendly. We see a lot of places, the entry registration areas are like jails with iron bars, everything. Can we make it open? Can we make it patient friendly and staff friendly so that both of them don't feel confined? Staff comfort and safety. How then the architects will work on site organization, where what goes, building form, whether it will be a tall building or a spread layout. Is it going to be a U, H? Is it going to be a single courtyard, double courtyard? How the building is going to be organized both horizontally and vertically. Standardized elements for easy maintainability and for easier structural alignment and services alignment. The patient room could be a planning module. Then a block is made, then the block becomes a larger module by which the site is organized. Articulation of heights for an interesting building. I would like to take you through some considerations that we have specific to one project. This I am giving as an example, not as an overview, because your hospital is unique, your requirements would be unique, but some of the considerations which are normally overlooked, that's what I have tried to capture here. We have found in the Indian context, especially in large facilities, a pre-waiting area before they enter the lobby is it's similar to having a veranda in a house. This is very useful. I find a lot of shamianas and things erected in many hospital campus serving this purpose. If it can be designed along with the building, it would be a good, useful space. People come, travel from far. They bring their luggage. They do not have a place to keep it. And if they are going to take it all around the hospital, it is not only a pain for them, it is a pain for everyone. So if you can give them a space where they can safely store their luggage. How the canteen is located. This is again in a multi-story hospital, how different things could happen on different floors. In addition to facing in terms of floors or blocks, in a quick growing hospital, one can plan spaces to grow into, because adding a floor above may not give you additional space in the outpatient area. Adding a floor above may not give you possibility to expand the operation theater. So where you are already functioning, you need space provision there to expand. So this is an experiment we have done with Aravind. So this is a completely new facility. They don't expect it to have the full complement of patients on day one. So, but the building is built. Initially, certain rooms and areas will start functioning. Then slowly it will start occupying clinic by clinic and grow as the demand increases. Same thing shown at different floor levels. Uh, One of the most important areas in a hospital is the operation theater complex. So I would like to present the major considerations while planning a hospital operation theater. I have tried to pack in as much and whatever I considered most important aspects to give you a very successful hospital project. I am now open for questions.
Yeah. Thank you, sir. So we have received three questions. Question number one is steel OT recommended for NABH?
I presume that what you mean by steel OT is a modular OT where metal sheets, steel sheets, sometimes stainless steel sheets with puff or some other insulating material in between is made in a factory and then it is assembled on site. Yes, NABH accept rather prefers a modular OT, though it is not mandatory. And a modular OT using this kind of puff filled panels, metal panels, has many advantages. For one thing, the panel skins is completely non-porous, so there is no possibility of bacterial or organic any growth on that. They are easy to maintain, but there can be gaps in the panels, the joints. So one has to very carefully order what kind of modular OT that one wants to do.
Thank you, sir. So the second question is what I have to do if I already have a building but in a non-efficient place.
The existing building, I presume, is not efficient for your current use. One possibility is to renovate it. So somebody can study the building and your required processes and reorganize the building, which may entail certain disruption for a period of time in your functioning. But it is possible. That is what we were talking about, renovation and upgradation.
Okay. In relation to this, there is one more question. Do you can evaluate and proposal of work of an architect equipment in Mexico to advise me if they are a good option and know what they are talking about?
Uh, I just know of one group in Mexico. If you would mail me privately, maybe I could introduce you to them. Then you can discuss and see where they are located in Mexico and where you are located in Mexico, whether it works for you.
Thank you. Next question is, could you please outline the key criteria for designing an operation theater with respect to maintenance and infection control considerations?
I'm sure that you would have seen my brief presentation on the operation theater design. One of the key considerations first is the correct flow. If the flow of patients, staff, clean materials, soil materials is properly taken care of, that is a major hurdle crossed. Then selection of material. Like we were discussing, modular operation theaters. So that is factory-made panels which are assembled on site. Flooring, nowadays we use vinyl. Ceiling, also factory-made panels we use. The kind of doors. So that is the construction of the operation theater itself. So it is not only the choice of material, but it is also the choice of how it is installed, who does the work, and how it is supervised. Because even with good material, one can do a bad job if they don't understand what they are doing. Thirdly, one of the major, most important aspects of infection control in a theater is airflow. The quality of air being pumped into the theater, how much air, how much of it is fresh air, how much of it is recycled air, what kind of filtration, and the kind of flow. In India, NABH has very clear guidelines for air conditioning of an operation theater. You are not permitted to mix the air from one theater with another. Each theater has to have its own independent air handling unit. The kind of doors, they should be hermetically sealing. The pressure differentials to be maintained. The humidity and temperatures to be maintained. All this put together, it's not just one thing, it is several practices. Then ultimately, it also depends on your protocols, how you maintain the operation theater, and how people come in and go out, how it is cleaned. All of that together will ensure that you have a very, very low or zero infection rate.
Okay, so next question is, are ramps mandatory even if the hospital is only a daycare center with no inpatient rooms?
If the question is from India, it varies from state to state. Even if you have rooms, in many states, it is not mandatory to have ramps. But in states like Tamil Nadu, it is mandatory to have ramps in all hospitals. But if you are not having overnight beds, it is a daycare center, and within a particular area, the authorities may not insist on a ramp. You don't actually require a ramp, but it is better to talk to the local fire office about this.
So the next is that whether CSST and operation theater be in the same floor or it is advisable to be in different floor with vertical connections.
From a work efficiency point of view, because in an eye hospital, unlike in other hospitals, other multi-specialty hospitals, the CSSD actually serves primarily the operation theaters in an eye hospital. It supplies sterile supplies to the theater, and the soil supplies come from the theater. So ideally, in an eye hospital, the theater and CSSD would be in the same flow. But there may be restrictions in terms of size of the flow plate and other considerations, because of which you may decide to have the CSSD in another level. So there is nothing specifically against having the CSSD in some other flow, as long as you have a fast and quick and direct line to bring properly wrapped, packed, sterile material to the theater. It can be in another flow as well, but practically it is better if it is in the same flow.
Okay. Next is how to control bacteria or dust in operation theater.
Pardon, sorry, I didn't catch that.
How to control bacteria or dust in operation theater.
Like I was explaining, if you have a proper air conditioning system, probably there will not be a proper air conditioning system, proper design of, say, the a well-designed operation theater does not allow direct access to the theater. There are barriers, airlocks from the outside area. So you have to go through minimum 2 areas before you get into the theater. So if those things are properly taken care of, the uh, the dust and bacteria control, pathogen control will be good.
Okay, sir. Local bodies are clueless about regulations pertaining to daycare center and eye hospitals. Where do I get the reliable information?
Unfortunately, local authorities consider if you name your facility a hospital, it's all one single category. They don't see whether it's a daycare, so you'll have to call it a clinic or some other thing when you are applying for approvals. Uh, that's the only way. On paper, there is no differentiation.
Okay, sir. And the last question is, what are the system preferable? VRV or AHU systems for ophthalmology?
This is also a very general question. VRF and AHU systems. See, for operation theaters, definitely you need AHUs. That is mandated in NABH. But VRF is a cooling system. That the chilling loop is what, whether it's a VRF or a DX or a central system. So that can still be VRF, even for an operation theater with an AHU. The AHU can be supplied chilled refrigerant through a VRF system. But when people normally talk of VRF system, they think of a cassette in the room or a high wall unit in the room. Those are not permitted in the operation theaters. They are not restricted in the other areas. However, if depending on the volume of the space, it should be judiciously chosen. A normal VRV indoor unit, either a cassette or a high wall unit, doesn't have provision to bring in fresh air. If you want a good air conditioning system, you need to bring in fresh air. But it is possible to pump in fresh air and cool with normal standard VRF systems. So one need to consult for the specific requirement depending on the size of space and the location where you want to use VRF.
Okay, sir. So there is one more. Can humidifiers be used in OD dust control?
A humidifier is not for dust control, but for humidity control. If your AHU is unable to maintain the preferred humidity level, a properly designed AHU will have the possibility to control the humidity to the required level in that particular area. But in case it is not able to control humidity, one will have to go for a humidifier. Separate portable humidifier.
Okay, thank you, sir. These are the questions from the participants. Any questions from the participants more? I think that's all. Uh, Thank you, sir, for the wonderful session. And thank you all the participants for joining this session on the strategic planning. Thank you all for the.
Thank you, Israel, sir, for sharing your
Thank you.
knowledge and wisdom,
Thanks,
sir. Thank you
everyone,
so much, sir.
all who
Thank,
participated. Thank you. You can email me if you have any questions.
yes, I shared your email ID, sir, with couple of them, the one Mexico, one the other one. Probably they will contact you
Okay.
on email. Yeah, already
Okay.
send them, already respond to them live. So
Okay.
probably they will contact you for more information.
We are working with LICO to bring out, uh, rather, LICO is doing that. We are uh, playing a part in that. They are bringing out a guideline for designing eye care facilities. It would soon be available. It will be available online, and I think it will be accessible to all. So I'm sure announcements will be made once it is ready to go online.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you, sir.
Okay.